Welcome back to Day and Night Forex, and in this video we are going to share with you one of the easiest scalping strategies for day traders out there. Basically, this is the only day trading strategy that you ever need if you master everything that we're going to teach you in this video. So basically, this is also one of the most effective ways or strategy to grow small accounts. So be sure to watch every single part of this video. Make sure you watch all throughout the video all the way to the end, and basically take some notes where you need to and practice what we are going to teach you in this video. So let's get straight into it. Now, if you've been following Day and Night Forex for the longest of time, or you one of our students, you probably have heard us speak about a W formation at the low of the day or an M formation at the high of the day, right? These are some of the strongest moves that we've been able to capture, and one of the best strategies that we've been able to teach to our students and basically everybody who follows Day and Night Forex, right? So in this video, we're actually going to be going deeper and explain the double top and double bottom strategy and how you can use it to build consistency in your trading. Remember, when it comes to building consistency in trading, it's all about doing the same thing, the exact same thing over and over again until you master it. You know, sticking to the same lot sizes, sticking to the same chart formations that you're looking for, with the same patterns that you're looking at, right? So until you build that consistency. So that is what we're going to be teaching you in this video as we break down the double top and double bottom strategy and how you can implement it to build your small accounts effectively and basically just build that consistency, right? So starting off, we're just giving you a basic introduction to double bottom and double top for those who are not familiar with this. Basically, these are the formations that we're talking about right here, right? So we have the double top right here, which looks like an M formation, and then we have the double bottom, which looks like a W formation, right? Basically, the double bottom is the opposite of the double top and vice versa, right? So when it comes to these two patterns, they are reversal patterns, right? So basically, starting off with the double bottom right here, it is a reversal pattern showing us that is the end of a downward movement. So when the market was falling, basically when the market was coming in from the top, the market was coming in from the top, and then it hits a support at the bottom here, and then when the price comes back to test the same area here for the second time, the market will be basically confirming a certain structure at this level over here, right? So it could be a support, it could be a demand zone that is over here, whatever the case may be, but basically that is what it signifies, right? The end of a downtrend, or basically a bullish reversal pattern, right? It signifies or shows us that we are about to turn into a buying market. So we're waiting for some bullish action over here. We're looking for entries at this leg over here. Now, oppositely, we have the double top, right? So the double top is basically just the opposite of the W formation. As you can see, we have the market that is coming from the bull side. So the market was pushing to the upside, and then comes to hit this level over here. And then when the market comes back to test the same level for the second time here, it is confirming us that we are looking for potential sells here. We're looking for the market to actually move to the downside from this point, right? So it's the confirmation, and then we call this a double top, right? So a double top or M formation. So this is our opportunity or confirmation to sell in the market when the market comes back to retest the same level, right? So it could show us that we potentially have a resistance or a ceiling level over here, or we can also refer it to our supply zone if it was our previous video where we talked about the supply and demand zones, right? So it's showing us a potential opportunity to sell, and we'll be looking to enter our trades on this second leg going down and basically continue with it past the neckline, which is the neckline is basically the part where the first leg came down to first before moving back to create the second leg, right? So in the double bottom, this will be our neckline over here. In the double top, this will be our neckline over there. Both these two patterns, the double bottoms and the double tops, can also form as triple bottoms and triple tops, right? So with one of our examples that we're going to share with you later on the charts, when you get to the charts later in this video, you'll see what we mean by the triple bottoms and the triple tops. But basically just means that we'll have a third leg here before the market moves up. So maybe the market will come back down again here, the third leg, before it actually pushes to the upside, right? So the same here, we can get an extra third leg over here before the market actually pushes to the downside. So that is what we mean by the extra leg, which makes the triple tops and triple bottoms, right? Okay, so now to continue and to actually go deeper and explain the M formation in more detail, we just have some few notes that we are going to share with you over here. When it comes to the M formation, is basically a bearish reversal pattern, as we said. So we are now looking for market to stop uptrending, and basically the market should start going down, right? So we're looking for selling opportunities. So price has been in the uptrend, but now the negotiation between buyers and sellers is happening when the market is coming back to this zone and then going back to retest the zone before pushing down again, right? So there's basically some negotiations are happening there between the buyers and sellers, right? Before the sellers basically take control and then move the market down. Now the M pattern is not complete until price breaks out of the M or the support. So what we're referring to here is that the M is only complete once it's break past this support level that is over here, which is basically our neckline, as we explained a little earlier before. Now you need to understand that when it comes to the formation of these patterns, starting off with the M formation once again, we basically have phases, right? So the first phase is basically the uptrend that the market will currently be in, right? So the market is currently in an uptrend, and then it hits a level of resistance over here, right? So that is where it brings us to a second phase where we create our first leg, right? So the first leg of the M forms when the price gets rejected by resistance, right? So right here, maybe we have a resistance level that will be sitting above this level over here, right? So I'm just going to change that back to red. When the uptrend is coming and then it hits that level, basically it creates our first leg of the M by rejecting the price at that resistance level, sending it going down, right? So that is basically our second phase of the M formation after the rejection, right? So and then that brings us to the third phase of this formation of this pattern, which is the second leg, right? So the second leg of the M formation forms when price tries to rise again from the support. Remember what we said, the support is basically this where the price comes to rest before pushing back up again, basically creating our neckline over here, right? So that is what we are referring to as our support in this case. So when the market comes down to this level, and then when the market tries to push from this support level back to this resistance level over here, or trying to break through or create a new higher high, basically gets rejected again, and that is when we have our second leg forming, right? When the price is being pushed back down back to that support over there. That brings us to our fourth phase, which is the last phase when we actually start looking for entries on this pattern, right? And that is the breakout. So the M pattern is not complete until price breaks and closes below the support level. Now remember what we said about the support level is basically this level that we have over here. So the support level is this level that we're having here, which is we are calling the neckline, right? So the price has to come through and then break through that level before we can actually say the M pattern is complete. So once it breaks through that level and closes below that level, then now we can actually say the M pattern is actually complete, and we can start looking for entries into the market. Now moving on, you need to understand that there are actually three types of M formations that you need to be looking for in the market when it comes to trading the M formation, right? So we just told you about the phases that you need to look at when it comes to trading this pattern, and then now we're just going to explain the three different types of M's that you can basically anticipate or be looking for on the market when you're trading this pattern. So the number one pattern that we have, the first one over here, is basically when we have buyers. So remember the first phase, the market is in an uptrend, right? So we have the buyers pushing the market up here, and then it stops at a resistance level over here. Then the market pushes it down to create a new support over here, right? So when we have this support level, it again pushes the market up to try to break this level over here, and with this in this case, you can see with the first information, we managed to break past the previous higher high that we had over here, making a new higher high over here, right? So this new higher high becomes the highest point of our second leg that is forming over here, and then basically now we need to get in, the sellers come in and then push the price back past this level, this support level over here, and only when we break and close below the support level, that's when we have our confirmed M formation, like we said in phase 4 of the formation of this pattern, right? So that is our first pattern type for the M formation, where we have the first leg is lower than the next leg, right? And then moving on to the second example over here, we have two higher highs, or basically we have two highs because they are both equal, right? So in this case, the buyers came in, they were pushing the market, hits a supply zone, a ceiling over here, and then the market came down to create a new support level over here. So this support level, what we also refer to as the neckline, but from that support, the market was pushed back to retest as a resistance level again. As we called it in the previous video, we also talk about the supply and demand zones. So this will also act as our supply zone, where the sellers are jumping into the market, right? They're looking to enter the market, right? In this case, this is also a resistance level over there. And then as you can see, this is rare to find it as picture perfect as you can see it right here, but basically this is what we are looking for when it comes to the M formations, right? As you can see, the equal tops over here, so the equal double tops over there, and then the price comes back and pushes past that neckline or the support area over there, and that is our complete M formation pattern right there. And then we start looking for entry opportunities. Now the last but not least, which is the third type of the formation for the M formation, this one here, we have our first leg is higher than the second leg. So the buyers pushed the markets and created a new higher high, but then when the market came back to create a support level over here, which is our neckline once again, the market did not not push all the way back to this same level as the first leg, right? So it didn't push it. The momentum was not enough for it to push back all the way to that high over there, but then it still created a second leg over here of a lower high. As you know, when it comes to the downtrend, our market creates lower lows and then lower highs, lower lows and then lower highs, right? So in this case, we already have a confirmation of a downtrend because the market is now creating lower lows and lower highs, right? So together with that, we're getting a confirmation, an extra confirmation, which is our third type of the M formation, and basically that gives you more confidence in your setup, right? So again, once it breaks through that support or that neckline, that is when we are looking for selling opportunities, and that is a confirmed M formation. These are the three different types of M formation that you'll be looking at or looking for in the market to basically kill the market with this strategy, right? So now we're going to move on to the W formations and explain that in a little more detail. So now just to look into more detail for the bullish reversal pattern, which is the W formation. So well, it is a bullish reversal pattern because it shows us or signifies a change in the trend, right? So the market will first be in a downtrend, and basically it's now turning into a bullish market. So that is why we call it a bullish reversal pattern, right? It just shows us the end of a downtrend market, and we're now starting a bullish market. So the price will be in the downtrend, and now there's negotiations between the sellers and the buyers. And then once again, just like the M formation, the W pattern is not complete until price breaks out of the W or out of the resistance. Now remember, with the M formation, we had the support, but then now because we're coming from the downside going up, we basically now have our resistance. Our support has been turned into resistance, right? Remember, support, when it is broken, it turns into resistance, and vice versa, right? So in this case, with the M formation, we were going down, right? We were going down with the M formation. So basically we had our support over here creating it on the neckline, but then now we are going to the upside, and then basically this same support right here, the same neckline, is now a resistance, resisting the market from pushing to the upside because we're trying to buy in this market, right? We're trying to go bullish, right? So that is what we mean by this pattern is not complete until price breaks out of the W or the resistance level. Now moving on to the phases of this W pattern formation. So basically we have 4 phases once again, just like with the M formation. So basically, first things, the market is in a downtrend. Market is going in a downtrend, creating lower lows and lower highs. So just like with the M formation as well, the longer the downtrend, the more powerful the W and the higher the potential of profits out of that W formation that will form in this case, right? So in the M formation, basically the longer the uptrend, the more powerful the M formation will be, and the higher the potential profit that we can get out of that pattern once it's complete, right? So it's basically the same thing. Now moving on to the second step, basically the first leg, it forms when the price that is falling in the current downtrend market, when it finds a support or a demand zone. If you watched our previous video, once again, if you have not watched that video, make sure you go and watch it as we explained how the smart money works, right, with the supply and demand zones, right? So basically in this case, we're just going to be using support and resistance, but basically these are the zones where we're also looking for supply and demand zones, right? So when it finds that support over here, it basically creates the first leg, right? So the first leg bounces off the supports and then goes back. You know, the buyers are trying to move the market up, right? But then they get exhausted right here, and then they find a resistance level over here, right? So this resistance over here, which brings us to our second leg, right? So once the first leg is formed over here, we now move on to the second leg. So the second leg forms when it is pushed from the support to this resistance over here, but then with this resistance, it gets rejected again, and then comes back to test again the same support over here, right? So it comes back to test the same support over here before moving to the upside, right? So once it pushes above, once it pushes away from this the support level over here that it finds at the bottom where the first leg was at, now this is when we are moving to our phase 4, which is when we are looking for a breakout, right? So we are looking for a breakout out of the W formation so that we can start looking for entries, right? So what we mean by breakout of the W or out of the resistance level, we are looking at this part over here, right? So this neckline over here, or this resistance level in this case, remember in the M formation it was support, but now it's resistance because it's resisting the market from going to the upside, right? So when we have that level, all we're waiting for now is just to push past and break and close above that level over there. So once we close above that, once we break through that resistance level and close above it, then we have a confirmed W formation, and that basically gives us an opportunity to actually hop in the market and go ahead and trade this pattern, right? So just like with the M formation, we also have 3 different types of the W formation. So we're just gonna take a look at those 3 different types of the W formation, right? All right, so now let's take a look at the 3 types of the W formation. The first formation, we basically have the sellers pushing the market down, right? So they're pushing the market down, and then they find a level of support at the bottom over here, right? So it pushes back the market up, but then when it pushes up, it finds some resistance here, which basically creates that resistance level that we have that we need to break through before confirming that this is a W formation, which we also refer to as the neckline in some cases, right? So once the price comes to this level, it pushes it back down again to retest this level over here, but in this case it actually pushes lower than that, right? So remember, this market was in a downtrend, and in a downtrend the market moves with making lower lows and then lower highs, right? And then pushes again past the previous lower low, making another lower low, right? So that is the case that we have over here, and then it pushes back again. If this downtrend is to continue, the market will have to come and create a new lower high, which will be lower than this one. But then in the case of a W formation, it destroys that pattern and then pushes up past this neckline over here, creating that W formation. That is exactly what you're seeing over here. So instead of creating a new lower high over here, the pattern basically just breaks through the neckline over here that we have over here, which is the level of resistance, and then creates confirming our W formation. So that is when we're now looking into joining the buyers and then continue with an uptrend, right? Basically it's a reversal of the downtrend that was going on, and that is our first information. So with the first information, we have the first leg is higher than the second leg, the first type of the W formation. Now moving on to the second one, which is the ideal W formation that we will be looking for, right? It is basically just a perfect with equal legs at the bottom over here, creating our perfect W formation, right? But again, you cannot find such perfect ones in the chart as much as we can illustrate them here on the books, right? So basically you can never find one that looks like exactly as in the book, right? So this is just for the purpose of illustrating what we are actually looking for in the market. But in the market, it can have some spikes here and there, basically you're going to see with the examples that we're going to show you later in this video. So anyways, to continue, basically what we have, the market is selling and then finds support over here. So when it finds support, it pushes to the upside, but then finds a level of resistance over there, which is again our neckline, and then comes back to retest the same support that it was created with the first leg, and that is when we get our second leg, right? Which is the third phase. If we're looking at the phases that we just shared with you when it comes to the formation of the W formation, that it will push us to the fourth phase, and the fourth phase is when we're looking for a breakout of the W formation or out of the resistance level. So when we push past that level over there, that's when we have a confirmed W formation, and that is when we are looking to join the buyers on this move, right? And that brings us to our last but definitely not the least type of the W formation, which is this one over here that you can see. So with this one, we have our first leg is basically lower, and then the second leg is higher than the first leg. Now we are going to talk about the perfect and not perfect W formation just now, but in this case we are already in a bullish move, right? Because remember, when the market is moving in the uptrend, we start from the low, right? And then we create a high, and then we create a higher low, right? So then we come back again and break past the previous higher high and make another higher high, and then come back to create a higher low, right? So basically this is what is happening over here. We have a low, and then we create a higher low, right? So which confirms a bullish movement, right? So that is why this one is actually an ideal type of a W formation that we'll be looking for, because it's already confirming the uptrend, right? So in this case, as you can see what we're trying to explain to you right over there, so the sellers are pushing it down, it finds support, it goes up, it finds resistance level, which is the neckline over here, and then comes back to be pushed down, but then it doesn't push down all the way down to the first leg, right? So it just comes back over there and finds enough momentum to actually pushes past this previous higher high that has been made over here, from the higher low that has been made over here, right? And then when it breaks through that is our fourth phase, confirming that we indeed have a W formation and we can join in the buyers and go along with them, right? So that is basically the 3 types of W formations that you need to understand and be looking for in the markets. Now moving on, we are going to take a look at the perfect and examples of non-perfect M and W formations, right? right? So just starting off with the perfect M and W formations. As you can see right here, what we're just explaining to you right now with this last example that we had, why we call this a perfect M and W formations. Basically, the reason behind this is that they're already going along with the trends that we're trying to catch, right? So as you can see right here, the second leg is higher, and this is a good trade. Why? Because we're trying to get into a buy trade, right? So for us to get into it, remember we always say the trend is your friend, right? So in this case, we're already seeing that the trend is in our favor here, because we are having a low, and then we're having a higher high over here, and then we have a higher low over here, and that confirms an uptrend. Basically, remember again, I'm just going to illustrate again: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. That is how the bullish market basically works, right? So that is what we're already having over here, which is a confirmation that the trend really wants to go up. So it makes it a perfect W formation in this case, right? So the same goes for the M formation. Second leg is lower than the first leg over here, and remember, when we are selling and we are going in a downtrend, the trend is already confirmed here that the market is trying to push down. Why? Because it's creating those lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? Basically it's breaking the levels going down. That is exactly what is happening here, and that creates that perfect M formation, and basically giving us that more confidence to enter into ourselves, right? So this will be our ideal or our perfect M and W formation that we'll be looking for in the markets, right? So let's take a look at the not so perfect M and W formations, right? So this will be these ones that we have drawn out over here, right? So if I can just grab my pencil again or my brush. So now these are not ideal, because the second leg for our W formation, this is our W formation, right? So the second leg, as you can see, it's lower than the first leg, and it's not a good W. Why? Because we have a lower low over here, and then a lower high, and then a lower low that breaks past the first lower low over here, which basically tells us we are still in a downtrend, right? So that is why we say this is not a perfect W formation. So we're trying to buy, but then the trend that is currently forming our W formation is showing us that we're still in a downtrend, right? So it's still a W formation. You still can make profits out of it, but it's not the best formation that we're looking at, right? It's not a perfect W formation. And the same goes for the M formation over here. As you can see, the second leg over here is higher than the first leg, and basically that just shows us that the market is basically still creating a higher high, a higher low, and then a higher high, right? So a higher high that breaks past the first higher high over here. So basically that should be showing us an uptrend, and basically that is how the uptrend forms, right? So that is why we say these are not the perfect M formations, though they're still M formations, right? So they're not the ones that we prefer the most. The ones that we prefer the most are the ones that we just showed you over here, right? So these ones which goes along with the trend that is already confirming the trend, right? So this is what we call the perfect and the not so perfect M formations. Now, to move on with the rest of our videos, before we get into the examples, we're just going to share with you some of the tips of how to trade the W formations and basically what you're looking for, right? So as you can see here, we just have some more illustrations for you. Okay, so starting over here once again, so basically to trade the M and W formations, you need to have the following as well along with your M and W formations, right? So we basically encourage you to have a support and resistance levels or supply and demand zones. If you're looking for the M and W formations at those levels, it basically makes it more powerful, right? It gives you more confluences, and basically confluences are everything when it comes to trading. We need to have at least an extra reason for you to enter the market, not just one reason. Maybe you just support, it's just support, right? It's not the best way to trade. At least two confluences. So in this case, you have your support, and then at your support, you're seeing that W formation over here, which makes it a more powerful entry. Or maybe you're at a resistance, and then at that resistance, you're seeing your M formation, right? So you're seeing your M formation, and that basically makes it a more powerful move than just when you have just support or just your M formations or your W formations, right? And then the second thing, we also look at the candlestick patterns, which is the pin bar. For example, mostly we use the pin bar. So the pin bar, for some of you might know it as the hammer or whatever you may call it, but basically it's the one with a small body and then a long tail, right? So small body, long tail, that basically is the candle that we're referring to as the pin bar, right? So that candle is the one that shows us a reversal in the market, right? So when you see this pin bars, it just means that the market is about to reverse, right? So that is why we also make use of those, but you can also use or make use of other reversal patterns, such as the bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing, those different candlestick patterns that you can take a look at. And then the third thing that you can implement in when you're looking for these M&W formations, basically we're looking at the higher second touch of the second leg, right? So the closer the second leg is to the first leg, the more profitable that formation is. These three extra things that you need to look at basically makes trading M&W formations much more profitable. The second leg is where more buyers and sellers jump in on the move, right? That is where we're also trying to jump into the move. So in that case, we want to see a higher second leg for the W formation. So remember the example that we just showed you, where we have a second leg that is higher than the first leg, right? So that is what we want you to see for the W formation, and the leg that is lower for the M formation, right? So for the M formations, we want to see the second leg to be lower than the first leg over here, right? So this means that the buyers or sellers entering the market are much stronger, so they have much more influence on the price at that point. Just to illustrate what we're trying to say over here, as you can see, we have our second leg over here, which has been rejected by a resistance level that is over here, right? So that creates our first our first leg of the M formation. Then over here we have our second leg, which is a bit lower than the first one, and that just shows that the sellers are basically eager to enter the market, right? So a lot of sellers have gotten into the market and they're continuing that downtrend, and that is basically where most sellers are stepping, and that is when we are also looking to step into the market together with the sellers. Okay, now to move on to the to an example of the W formation, if you can just pull it over here for you guys before we jump into the last bit of our video. So as you can see right here, is basically the same thing as well. We have our first leg forming when it comes to when it reaches support, and then it gets rejected by support, and then we're basically waiting for the second leg to come and then pushes over there, right? So basically, to make it a perfect W formations, it doesn't have to reach all the way down here. It just shows that the sellers are ready to enter at any bit of a pullback of this price, and basically the higher it is above the first leg, the more profitable it will be. So that just shows that a lot of sellers are interested in this in getting in this price or in getting in this market, right? So basically that is why this makes it our ideal or our perfect W formation to basically get the trades in, and this is the most profitable W formation type that we have. Now we just want to share with you some of the few tips before we jump into the examples that we have illustrated on the charts that we're just going to show you. We're just going to share with you some of the tips that you need to keep in mind when it comes to trading these W and M formations, right? So basically trading M and W formations can be very much profitable, and if you stick to the rules that we shared with you in this video, your drawdown can actually be as good as zero. And what we mean by zero drawdown, we're just saying that the minute that you enter your trade, the only raise that you see there will be just spread, right? You'll be very quick to go back into profits because we're entering at the right position when the buyers or the sellers are ready to go with that in the direction that you are anticipating, right? So this formation works best because traders wait for confirmation that support and resistance levels are holding before they actually enter the trade, right? So they want to see that confirmation and not just enter on just first test, right? So when the market is coming back to create that second leg, it basically just giving us a confirmation that these levels are actually strong enough for us to enter into the market. That is why we only enter at the second leg and not the first leg, right? So you also find the M and W formations forming on every time frame, right? So this is not just like on a high time frame or a lower time frame. So all the way from the 1 minute all the way to the monthly. So the higher the time frame, the more powerful this indication or the more powerful this reversal will be. So basically the higher time frame that we're talking about, anywhere from H1, H4, those are the high time frame that we deal with, and that's basically gives you the best MW formations, and even the 15-minute chart as well. We're taking your trades on a 1 minute or 5 minute chart. The 15-minute will be also a good higher time frame to look at, and basically it forms on both forex pairs as well as indices, right? Your nasdaq, your US 30s, for the forex is the GBP, JPY, or whatever you trade, USD, JPY, all your foreign currency pairs, as well as the indices. strategies. So basically this strategy applies to all the markets that you can think of. And basically we don't trade any pattern that looks like the M or W formation. We have to wait for confirmation. And also you need to keep in mind that you need to have patience, because these patterns actually take time to complete the formation, right? So the higher the time frame, the longer the M or the W formation will actually take to complete. So you have to you just have to be patient with that, right? So with that being said, those are the tips that we have for you to keep in mind when you're trading this W and M formations. Now we're just going to go to the charts and actually show you some of the examples that we have just highlighted for you here, so that you can just see for yourself how they actually work, right, on the market, on the real price over here, right? So in this case, as you can see, we have our first one over here. This is actually on nasdaq 15-minute chart, and basically we have a very nice M formation over here. As you can see over here, it's almost at the same price over here. And as you can see, basically the price did first create our first leg over here, right? And then after that, let me just zoom in a little bit for you there. So the price came and created our first leg over there. It got rejected by resistance, a point of resistance over there, came back and created support over there, and then this we saw the reversal that was coming to create our second leg by this harami candle over here, or the baby inside a bigger candle. We call that a harami setup, right? Basically we then had the market come back to test again this resistance level again before it came back to break past this support over here, right? So once it broke basically with this candle over here, we could have been starting to look for opportunities to sell into the market. And basically, as you can see, the market actually did go, and actually, like, as you can see, it fell right from that point. It just fell all the way down there, right? So now looking for another setup that we have over here for another example of an M formation. So as you can see, again, almost at the same level, almost equal level, the market came to retest it after creating a support level over here, after being rejected from a resistance level, and then the market just shut down again over there, right? So as you can see, these actually form quite a lot, right? We just on the 15-minute chart, as you can see, we already have like 3 examples, one after the other over here, and basically they create all day long, right? So, and then here we actually have what we call the perfect W formation, as we were illustrating with the drawings, right? So as you can see, this is a perfect W formation example that we have, right? So our first leg is lower than the second leg, so our second leg here is higher than the first leg, and that is our perfect W formation that we are looking for, right? So as you can see, it just went and crushed it right once again, right? So as you can see, this is a very, very effective trading strategy that you can follow and basically build some consistency with it, right? So again, here we have one that looks almost, with the equal legs, which is also another beautiful W formation that we can see over there. So basically just the double bottom. And what do you mean by double bottom? We're referring that the price came back to retest the same level, right? So it doesn't ideally have to look like a perfect W formation, right? So as long as it comes back to retest that level, and basically that is what we are looking for, right? So remember, we also spoke about triple bottom, and basically this is the case where you have your first touch, you have another touch, and then you have another touch again at the same level, creating those triple bottom touches, right? So those are the other ideal W formations that you'll be looking at as well. So just keep that in mind, right? So let's see if you can still have more examples highlighted over here. I think we're gonna have let's take a look at BTC. We also highlighted a few over here. So on BTC, we actually have a nice triple bottom over here. So as you can see, we have our first leg, second leg, which is the W formation, right? But then the market came back again, giving us over here another touch before it actually shot all the way up, right? So this is on Bitcoin. So as we said, this strategy applies to almost every market, right? It applies to any market that you can think of, because this is how the market moves on a daily basis. So if you can just take a look at more examples over here on Bitcoin, we have more W formation setup. So this is an example that looks exactly like when we have equal bottoms. At the bottom, as you can see, it's almost at the equal side, but it's also sort of having a lower first leg and then a higher second leg, which of course is our ideal or our perfect W formations. And then here we have what seems to be another triple top at the top here, right? So we have our first touch, we have a second touch, and then another third touch over here. So after the third touch, that's when we had the market pushing all the way down again, right? So as you can see, this is forming all over and over again, right? So this is one after the other, and we are on the M15 right now. So as you can see, many many opportunities for you to actually trade, right? So another triple bottom over here, we have our first touch, second touch, and then the third touch over here, and then the market push all the way up, right? So as you can see, it's very simplified. I think we also have more examples here on the Euro USD, which is a currency pair, of course. As you can see, what we have here, we have a W formation, and basically we can say actually we have a triple bottom over here, because as you can see, this level over here actually came back to test at the same level where the price was, came to create our information, right? So we had our information over here, then the price came back to retest it again, and basically just creating a triple bottom over there, right? So I think those are all the examples that we have. I think we have one more over here for the Euro USD. As you can see, again, this is a W formation. Now this is not our ideal W formation, but as you can see, it actually worked out very well, right? So as you can see right here, we had our first leg, which is higher than the second leg over here, but it still pushed up very well together. Again, as you can see, for some of you, I'm pretty sure you can see our head and shoulder pattern over here, right? So having our head over here and then the two shoulders over there. So those are just some of the extra confirmation that you can look at, to build up your confluences. Remember, the more reasons you have to enter a trade, the more profitable or the more chances of it actually playing out, right? So with that being said, we've actually come to the end of this video. It was quite long, but I'm sure you've gotten some nuggets, and if you took some notes and understood everything that we shared with you today about this M&W formation strategy, you basically be able to build some consistency in your trading and be able to see some good results out of this, right? So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a comment down below if you got any questions, and basically we'll reply to every comment that we get on our videos, right? So we actually do take time to reply to each and every single comment that you leave down there. So if you got any questions, take that opportunity to have your questions answered, and basically subscribe, turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on our next videos. We got a ton of content that is coming for you guys on this channel this year, so make sure you got that notifications turned on, you are subscribed to the channel, and basically we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.